Alright, so I've procrastinated on this long enough. Put out a video every couple of years. So now we're just going to go through and just show you what various hammer-fired semi-autos I have. Because why not? And if you like what you see, you want me to talk more about something specific, I can do that later. No problem. And we will start with the only 380 I have. That's your little Browning 1911 380. It's actually surprisingly nice, surprisingly light. I've actually carried this gun and forgot I was carrying it. But hey, happens. Next is the Beretta 96. This was actually the first gun I've ever bought. Back in... It's far enough back I don't want to really admit to it. Anyway, it's been slightly modified since I first picked it up. It is now chambered 357 SIG because that is my cartridge of choice by a large margin. In fact, most of my 40 cals have been rechambered into 357 SIG. I think there's only currently 2 that haven't been. Speaking of which, this is one of them that hasn't been. This is your Beretta PX4 Storm. Simple gun. It's nice and unique. It's got the rotating barrel on it. So that's a new thing. And I put the comp on there just because I like longer slides. I like a beefier gun. I don't know why. I think that comes with growing up watching things like RoboCop and shit. Always had the enormous ones, so I want the full size. I'm the only guy I know around me that will carry a full size without batting an eyelash. You know, full size 1911, whatever. It's like, doesn't faze me. And we got a Sig Sauer P226. This is a slightly older model with a German-made frame, also 357 SIG. And then I've got an even older one, 226, German-made. You can see the grips no longer have the typical Sig Sauer logo on them. And the one part of this one I enjoy the most is, let's see if I can get the lighting on there. Come on now. Come on. Focus where I want it. Made in West Germany. This is one of the guns I bought purely for the giggle factor. The made in West Germany part made me laugh. So that is why I bought it, pretty much. That covered that whole thing. And then we have the FNX9. Now this one is actually my first 9mm I had ever bought. And ironically, well not ironically, but weirdly enough, I had a substantial amount of other guns before I even got this one. For whatever weird reason, I went a long time avoiding picking up 9mm. Couldn't tell you why. Just never felt the need for 9. Okay. 40, 357 SIG, 45, other calibers you're about to see, but I avoided the standard 9mm for quite a while. My bad. This is another one that gave me the giggle factor. This is your Springfield XDE. It's got the exposed hammer for an XD, which is odd. This one I bought simply because it gave me the sticker on the box that said, "Not legal for sale in California." It made me laugh. I had to buy it. This is the 3.3 inch barreled model, which again, it's kind of short and stumpy for me, but hey, it's actually not a bad gun. They did not do well commercially. I think that is largely due to being a single stack. I mean, if they would have been double stack, it'd probably be better. You do have plenty of hammer fired guns still being made that are double stack that are selling, but for whatever reason they went with the single stack. I couldn't tell you. But because I like the long barrels, I went out and made a point to find the 4.5 inch barrel version of that, the closest thing to the full size. It's got the same length grip on it, but you can see it's just got the extension on the magazine, which gives it that full size feel, which for me works. And then we have the Star BM, little Spanish, not quite 1911 clones. These ones, steel, again, single stack 9mm, but these are all surplus out of Spain. In fact, if you notice those milled out circles there, that's because apparently whatever Spanish agency or military was issued these had their insignias there, and they milled them off before they surplused them out, which is annoying because it's nice having those really like unique marks on the guns. Moving right along, we have an Inglis L9A1. This is a high power clone. This is actually one of those Turkish remakes, which so far it's worked out just fine. 9mm double stack, nice and comfortable in the hand. Yeah, I have no complaints. Some people sit there and, oh, it's made in Turkey. That's going to be garbage. It's like, I don't know why you'd assume instantly it would be garbage. I mean, it's just because they're Turkish doesn't mean they don't know how to make a gun. Especially when they're taking a proven design and just running off that, you know? Then we're going to get into some more of your surplus, which this is the Hungarian PA-63. This is their little Makarov copy they made. It's more of a PPK clone when you get down to it, but it's chambered in 9mm Makarov. Nice little two-tone setup. Nice, lightweight. Not a bad gun. And then we're going right along with it. Polish P64. Another tiny little Makarov. These things are notorious for having savage double action trigger pulls. Single action is actually pretty light. But yeah, that's your little Polish gun. And it's got the heel release, which is not ideal, but it works. It's a great serviceable gun. Nice and compact, easy to carry if that's what you want to do. And then the last Makarov I have, the Czech CZ82. Oh, mine's a little beat up, but Nice little hammer fired. Again, Makarov. This one is actually a double stack. Yep. It's probably the highest mag capacity Makarov you're going to get. Aside from a submachine gun. Or maybe there's some modern ones. I don't know. I am no expert on that. But these were weird because they were, I believe, put out in 82. And they were on the Curio and Relic list fairly quickly. They weren't nearly 50 years old. I'm pretty sure they were put on it as a curio because I think that's got one of the earliest iterations of polygonal rifling. And staying with the Czechs, let's just rewind a little bit to the CZ52. Bigger, heavier. This one shoots the 7.62 Tokarev. It's actually got a pretty unique locking system compared to most other pistols, or all other pistols. It uses a roller delay lock, similar to a lot of your HK submachine guns or the old German MG42. Little overkill for a pistol, but hey, it's a great pistol. In fact, this one, I don't know for a fact, but a lot of the ones I've seen people buy lately, like in the last 10, 15 years, they're all blued. Mine's parked. So I think mine is one of the ones that hasn't been re-arsenaled, which makes me like it a little bit more. And on that Tokarev train, we now have the Yugo M57. And I'll admit, I often forget their official name, so sometimes I look. I'm not perfect. These, again, your standard Tokarev pistol. It's kind of a, I don't want to say a knockoff of the 1911. It was made to fill the same role, but it's very different mechanically. Although it's a little bit easier to work with because the whole lockwork assembly just drops right out. When they went to import these, they had to install that safety on there, which was annoying because these guns didn't originally have a safety on them. In fact, safety doesn't do anything. It doesn't work. It doesn't flip. A lot of the newer ones, they've got pretty much a shoe safety on the trigger. But yeah, when they were importing them, 90s, 2000s, they were trying to find out whatever they could do to just get around the import restrictions. Like, oh, well, it needs a safety. So you'll see a lot of really cobbled together stuff on there. I would just pull the thing out if I didn't have the giant hole going through my receiver then. And then, keeping with that era, we got your 1911. This is actually just a Rock Island Armory GI spec. Nothing special, very plain Jane. But serviceable, reliable. I've never had an issue with it. And then just to get a little pretty, I got a Kimber Custom Lightweight. This is what they refer to as, I believe, the Night Star version, because it's the black with all the stainless steel accents to it. It's definitely lighter, definitely a nice shooter. And I will admit it was bought for aesthetic purposes. Whoop. You know, you like the contrast sometimes. And then keeping with the 45s, we got the CZ97B. This one I bought. It wasn't for the giggle factor, but it was because I was looking it up. And then that week, when I happened to be looking at it, I was like, you know, maybe I'll pick one of those up. They look kind of nice. It'd probably be a nice 45 to have. And then I saw they were discontinuing them. So that made my decision for me. I went out and bought it because if we're going to discontinue the gun, I'm buying it first. In fact, I've got a number of guns that have been discontinued. A lot of that for that reason. So, I like that. And then since we had the 45, let's drop it down to real small. What was this one again? Oh yeah, the Beretta Model 950. This is a 25 ACP. Still little pea shooter. You know, single action. Works. If you need a deep conceal kind of gun, this is the kind of thing you'd have. It's not made for sustained gunfights or shooting at range. It's like if somebody is on top of you doing something, that's where that one's good for. And then since we're in the 20s for calibers, we have the Walther P22. And it's just a little budget can I picked up. No big deal. Nothing special, but hey, it works. It's an interesting little combo. I got my little suppressed 22 pistol. And then finally, the one I would consider the disappointment. I don't want to say regret buying, but because it was just cheap. But you have the Sig Sauer Mosquito, which I'm pretty sure they still sell, but they do not allow the Sig Sauer name to be put on the gun. This was a little 22 they made, and it's basically a nice little clone of your 226, 229 and such. So if you're trying to teach someone to use one of those guns, this is great because it has the same manual of arms. The downside is you'll spend more time doing malfunction drills than shooting. It is extremely finicky. I have not found something that it currently likes. In fact, it's annoyed me so much I had stopped trying, and you can tell the slide is getting a little discolored because it's just been ignored for so long in the back of the safe. But it is what it is, you know. Anyway, those are all of my semi-auto hammer-fired pistols. I have probably equally as many striker-fired hammer-fired pistols. And nowhere near as many revolvers, but maybe 5, 6. But if you want to see those, I'll go through the striker fires next. That's cool. Let me know. On that note, you all have a good day.